Hello everyone. Today we're going to take that soft focus from last week on our hips and expand it into our shoulders. They're the two ball and socket joints of the body, and tremendous mobility in both those joints. What that often means though with that increased mobility is there are things that can go wrong. And so we're going to really have an awareness of those joints so that we can strengthen them and keep them safe, but also then expand that focus into the entire body. It's a wonderful way to begin to actually feel the connection throughout the entire body. So that's my aim. So if you'll like to join me, be really good today. If you've got 2 bricks, to keep them handy, and as always, don't worry if you don't have them, we can work around that. Also, we will be propped up or not, we will be in a kneeling position, so if you have trouble in that position, you might want to grab a chair, and it'll be just a few minutes, you'll need that, but have a chair to hand too if you have trouble kneeling on the floor. Okay. So, if you haven't already done that, let's all come into a comfortable seated posture. And just take these few moments that you need to really center yourself in your yoga practice. And so this is what makes yoga different from other exercise. You withdraw from all that's happening and you really center your awareness on everything that's happening in your body. So you just very carefully form the awareness, or rather the alignment that you know about, the awareness of your alignment from sits bones to the crown of the head. And just let go of tension everywhere you don't need it. So you don't need the muscles around the jaw or around the shoulders. You can let those relax. You just need the firm rooting into your sits bones and a little bit of core strength to hold you nice and long through the torso. Little lift in your heart. And then just allow yourself to sort of focus on your breathing, with an aim to just lengthen and soften your breath, nice and easy. Coming right back to the breath. And after a few breaths, when you feel like you found the really long, slow breath and the 3-dimensional quality of that breath, let's all go ahead and have 3 more long, slow breaths like that. And continue in your breathing just like you are. Just let your eyes blink open. Let your hands or arms fall to the sides of the body. Turning your palms outward, let's just breathe up with the arms. And in that deep, long inhale, you're also finding length from sits bones to the crown of the head. Just hold that position for just a moment. Can you relax your neck a little bit while you're still reaching up vigorously? Next inhale, press into the sits bones and lengthen out through the tips of the fingers. Separate those fingers so even the hands are active here. And then just feel the release. As you exhale next, just let go. Nice soft bend in the elbows. Big semicircle here. Bringing the hands right back to your heart. Namaste. And let's all come down to the floor now. We're going to recline back and start to move really consciously When you're coming down to the floor, nice core engagement here. And when you get there, just have that lovely full body stretch. Inhale and reach from the midline of the waistline to either direction, just as far as you can. And then when you exhale, just release a little bit. Let everything fall to the floor. Then one more time, inhale, get really long. Flex your feet, really point your fingers and separate those fingers. And then let go with a nice sounding sigh as you exhale. And bringing the soles of the feet to the floor. And then you're just going to bring the right thigh close into the body and stretch the left leg out. So when you stretch the left leg out, I want you to think about trying to really plug the back of the left thigh into the floor. In fact, take your left hand and place it right on that left hip crease at the very top of your thigh. And can you just press down a little, just gently, but encourage that thigh to go down. You might want to engage the left knee as well, so it sort of goes in and up the knee as you engage it. And sometimes that will lift the left heel off the floor. That's okay. Just try to be long and engaged in that left leg. And then gather the right thigh a little closer into the body. You might feel a little different with this vigorously held left leg, and just see. I want you to close your eyes and again come back to the long, slow breaths. Relax your shoulders as much as you can. And maybe keep your thigh and knee engaged. Maybe you can let the left heel touch the floor if in fact it is airborne now. And just one more long, slow breath. And then shift and take your left hand and join it with the right, so you can stretch the right leg up and then interlock your hands just around the right thighs. And just feel first the lengthening as much as you can, as much as your leg lengthens. Try to lengthen it up and feel the hamstring trying to let go. And then press the hands into the hamstring, press the hamstrings right back into the interlocked hands, and just feel whatever's happening there. See, can you hold it for 2 more breaths? It's about 50% of your strength. You're pushing the thigh into the hands and the hands right back into the thigh. And then release and release the hold. And see, can you just push the heel a little closer to the ceiling? Maybe that leg can get just a little bit longer. And then bend and extend the knee a few times. So just make sure that knee is nice and lubricated too. Very good. And then with the hands still interlocked now around the right knee, I want you just to bend the left knee and put the left sole of the foot on the floor. And let's go ahead and just bring that right heel or right ankle right crossed on the left knee. And then using a little core strength, let's bring the unit of both legs a little closer in towards the body. Reach your hands right through, interlock behind the left thigh. Just feel all the sensations that may or may not be happening in that right hip joint. Very nice. And what you're trying to do is just come right to the edge of sensation here. So this will be different for all of us. If you have no hip joint issues whatsoever, you may be able to really draw closer and closer the unit of both legs closer into the body. So your aim is to bring it just as close as you can really feel strong sensation, not pain, strong sensation in that right hip joint. And then once you get there to that edge, I want you to release and have another couple long, slow breaths. Maybe even move now just a little bit side to side, just swaying the hips a little side to side. Does that change the sensation in your hip joint? Very good. And then let go right around the thigh and slowly let that left sole of the foot come to the floor. Fantastic. And then uncross and reach the right leg up one last time, as long and strong as you can. And as you exhale, bring it right down to the floor. A little engagement in your core. And then bring the left thigh in towards the body. So we're just going to have a little repeat on this side of what you've just done. And so just keeping the left hand hooked on the left knee. You're going to place the right hand on the very top of the right thigh now, right near that hip crease. And I want you to really feel that back of that right thigh go towards the floor as much as it can. So, and you're trying to push out a little bit. That right leg is extended, even if it's just energetically. If you just think about it getting really long, flex the foot as if you're standing on a surface on that right side. And let that knee engage on the right. So it feels really long and strong on the right side. And then encourage the left knee to come just as close in towards the body as you can while you maintain that length and strength in the right leg. Soften your face against any sort of challenge this might be. And just have long, slow breaths. You're still keeping that leg on the right really long, and you feel it extending out through the sole of the right foot. You feel the right back of the thigh plugged into the floor. Lovely. And then let's release. And you're bringing the left leg up straight now and interlocking your hands behind the left thigh. Press out as much as you can and feel the hamstring behind your hands start to engage. Just gently press the hands into the thigh and let the thigh press right back into the hands, about 50% of your strength. And just feel your hamstring just challenged as much as it can be here. Trying to get the leg straight while you're really pressing hands into the thigh and thigh into the hands. And just hold that for another long, slow breath. And then release the arms or hands just a little bit so you can really stretch the left leg up as much as it will. And then bend and extend the knee a few times. Excellent. About 5 or 6 times is all you really need. And then you're going to draw that right heel closer to the right sits bone as you bend the knee, giving that left heel ankle a little place to park as you cross on this side now. Pressing now into your core, using your core strength as you bring the navel closer down towards the spine. You're going to draw the right sole of the foot off the floor so you can interlock your hands just behind that right thigh now. And just take your time and find the edge. You're bringing the unit of both legs closer in towards the body till you feel a pull right here, either in the right hip joint or left hip joint rather, or the whole of the left buttock and gluteal area. Just feel that little pull. Relax your shoulders. And once you get to the edge, just have 2 or 3 long, slow breaths here. And you may notice after just a breath or 2 that the feeling subsides a little bit. If it does, just find a new edge. And then as you exhale, we're just going to release the hands. And so with your core strength, you can just slowly let the right sole of the foot come to the floor. Uncross and draw the left leg up and press the heel more towards the ceiling. Get that left leg as long and straight as you can. And slowly as you exhale, we're going to bring it to the floor. Excellent. And then draw both knees towards the chest. Stretch both legs straight up and press out through the balls of the feet. Allow the arms to be either to the sides of the body, or if you want a tiny bit more challenge, you can interlock the hands behind your neck. And on the inhale, you're going to breathe in fully. On the exhale, with a firm abdominal core engagement, bring left leg down. Continue the exhale, bring it back up and have a big inhale. Do the same thing with the right leg. Just like that. One exhale takes it down and then right back up again. And you inhale when both legs are at the top. Exhaling, left leg down. Continue the exhale, bringing the left leg up. Really feel that core engagement. You want to feel as though the hip points are trying to come closer together and your sits bones are like magnetically coming closer together. It's almost like they're being drawn together. So it's a deep core engagement, not so much like a corset, but just drawing the deep, deep muscles nice and close in the abdominal core. And just go like this for just a few breaths, making sure you keep having the awareness right in your core and make sure that that's really firm there, deep down. And the reason this core work is so important is because it is actually helps connect everything, all of our movements together as we go into whether simple or challenging movements. The core is key. So it's just always nice to have a little reminder. We should be doing this all the time. It's always nice to come back to it. So after you've done an even amount on both sides, you feel like you've had enough. Draw both knees into the chest. Let your arms wrap around your knees. A little separation there in the groins. As you draw your knees closer into the chest, just feel whatever's happening in your low back as that spine rounds a little bit. And then release to more of a sort of neutral spine. Separate the thighs even more and just rock side to side. Very good. And then coming to stillness, we're just bringing those thighs back closer together again. And let's dip the chin towards the chest. And as long as you're not on a hardwood floor, let's all try to roll up. The reason I am really getting onto this more and more lately, rounding the spine and rolling up, is because it's unless you've got a problem such as osteoporosis, you shouldn't probably be doing this if you do have osteoporosis, but if you don't, it's really good to encourage that flexion and that movement in the spine. So we're coming to seated from here. So just take your time and roll as much as you want to, and we'll all come to a seated posture. So as you come up to seated, we're going to end up coming into kneeling. And for me, I like to be able to have a little bolster underneath my hips when I kneel. So if you're able to do this and sustain it for just a few minutes, then you're fine. And you can always prop up just a little bit more. You may need to find a little more to bolster underneath you to get comfortable. If none of that works for you, then you just go ahead and come into a chair just for this next little sequence. So in the seated position, what I want us to do is to go through all of the ranges of motion that's in our shoulders. And it's an amazing, it does so much. And we're just going to have a little look at what our shoulders are actually capable of. And so from the seated position, make sure you're comfortable, make sure your torso is nice and elongated. As you inhale, you're just going to breathe the arms straight up over your head and just see how far they go. The idea is to bring it into full shoulder flexion, which is this position with arms over your head. Lovely. And then exhale, bring it right down again. Next position is sort of like a Y position. You're going to bring your palms, the palms can face upward, but you're going to come out sort of at a diagonal. All the way up, as high as you can. And then release down as you exhale. Next position is sort of like the T. We do this all the time. Palms are pointing out. As you inhale, take it up to shoulder height. Pause for a moment. If it feels okay, you can take it just a little bit higher. You use the slightly different muscles around the shoulders as you bring it past that horizontal point, but just see if it works. You can keep it right there at the T length if you'd rather, or T position if you'd rather. And then exhale, bring the arms back down again. And the next one is sort of like a butterfly. We're going to bring the arms straight out in front. As you inhale, just open nice and wide and go back as far as you can. And then as you exhale, close it out. Close it back to center, sorry. Release your arms, and then let's make a big circle with the right arm. Up, back, and all the way down. And then the other direction. Back, up, and coming down in the front. Other arm, up, back, and down. And then in the reverse direction. Just like that. We're going to do each movement 3 times now. Don't worry, I will guide you right through it. The first position, if you think of your arm shape as kind of like an eye, you're going to breathe the arms up. Palms are facing each other. Come up as much as you can. Keep the torso elongated. And your exhale, bringing them down. We're going to do that one movement 2 more times. As you inhale, bring the arms up. Get long. As you exhale, come on back down with the arms. And again, as you inhale, bring the arms up. And as you exhale, arms come down to the sides of the body. Now the little Y shape, bring the palms out a little bit, about a 45-degree angle. As you inhale, you're coming up just as high as you can, right to the edge. And as you exhale, just bring the arms down. 2 more times like that. You're inhaling. Nice full, long, slow inhales and bringing the arms up. And as you exhale, arms come down on that nice diagonal Y shape. Last one, as you inhale, bring the arms up. And as you exhale, it comes on down again, the arms. Coming into the T position next, palms facing up. You're inhaling, breathing up to shoulder height, and then maybe a little beyond. And you're exhaling, coming down. Inhaling, coming up, and you're really long now from breastbone to finger point, so you're reaching out, taking up lots of space, and you're exhaling, releasing down. Inhale, coming up, and exhaling, bringing the arms down. And just notice if there's any niggle sensations in your shoulders as you do this. Now just bring the arms straight forward to chest height. As you inhale, expand the arms out and come back as far as you can. See if you can keep the back from arching. We can also use this as a slight little core strength. So you draw the core in if you feel your ribs bowing out. So hold the position firm. As you exhale, come on back in again with the arms. As you inhale, expand back out, nice and broad. And as you exhale, come on back to the starting position. Last one, breathing out and taking those arms, the backs of the hands back just as far as they can go. And then exhale, closing it out. Letting the arms come to the sides of the body, nice big circle with the right arm, as big as you can go with this. And then the reverse direction. The other arm, big, big circle. And then the other way. And then just roll the shoulders a few times. And while we're in this position, just a little reminder of this little thing called, I don't know what to call it, shoulder flossing, but we're going to bring our arms straight out. And all I want you to think about is articulating, integrating that arm bone within the shoulder joint, right? So reach forward with nice straight arms, and then as you exhale, bring the arms back just from the shoulder joint. Bring them back, elbows don't bend, and start to feel as if those arm bones are plugging in to the shoulder joint. That's what you want to feel. And go back and forth like this. So you're reaching, you've got all that wonderful movement. You can reach, the shoulder joint actually loses the integration, and the arm rather loses the integration in the shoulder joint. I want you to feel that, and then plug it back in again as you bring it back. Do this a couple times, or several times if you will. and really start to feel. You can do it a little quicker. You don't have to do it on the breath. I want you to really start to feel that. It's actually good for you as long as it doesn't cause pain to do this from time to time. But what I really want you to pay attention to is this is fine when you're not weight bearing to reach out and let it come into the full range of stretching and moving. But when you are weight bearing, such as in plank pose, you want those arm bones right back, rooted into the shoulder joint as they're supposed to be with weight bearing. So really feel that, almost like a plug in right there. So that's a position you need to be in for your plank poses. So coming off our little perch now, if you're kneeling, and maybe coming out of your chair if you've chosen to sit in a chair. Let's go ahead and come into the hand and knee position. Find those inner hands, find your position, and let's just do 3 really brief cat-cows. As you inhale, raise up with the heart and the tailbone, look forward. As you exhale, that abdominal contraction as you round the spine, bring it in as much as you want with chin to the chest and tailbone tucked under. Let your own spine dictate how far you go here. And then rolling with the inhale back into cow. And you're exhaling into the cat position. Lovely, and then just come back to neutral tabletop. Bring your hands 1 hand length further ahead. Tuck your toes under. Let's push into downward facing dog from here. Let your head and neck relax. And just find slowly your downward facing dog. You may need to pedal it out a little bit. But whatever you're doing, make sure you find your inner hands and the strength in the arms that you need. Remember, it feels as though if you look forward, you want your elbow creases, or rather, your wrist creases to be pointing forward, but you want to feel as though the inner elbows are trying to look straight forward. Okay, so what that means is your biceps will spin back in space and your triceps will try to come forward. Okay. Lovely. And let's just do a little vinyasa now where we'll incorporate a little bit of cat-cow too. So as you inhale, really holding the inner hands and the arms firmly, isometrically, you come down with your knees into cow. Raise your heart. As you exhale, let's go ahead and come back into the cat position. As you inhale, roll it right through into the cow position. Heart lifts, tailbone lifts. As you exhale, sink back into the extended child's pose. Take your time with this. Your breath is slow, so you really can let your neck and your low back release. When it's time to inhale, you're going to come into plank. So you have to really find those inner hands. Those upper arms are isometrically pressing together. Come into your plank and find that integration in the arm and shoulder joint. Lovely. And then as you exhale, press into the inner hands and lift your inner core so you can come back into downward facing dog safely. Let the head and neck relax. Let's go through that again. So as you inhale, you're coming into the cow position. Nice and easy. Let the knees gracefully come to the floor. Find those inner hands. Come into the cow. As you exhale, come into cat. As you inhale again, come into the cow position. Remember, those upper arms are isometrically coming together. Even a lot of tone, even in this simple pose. As you exhale, come on back into the extended child's pose. Let the neck relax. Let the low back relax. And as you inhale, we're coming into the plank pose really safely. You're plugged in with the hands. You're plugged in with the shoulder or arm bone into the shoulder joint. You feel really extreme core engagement. And then draw the core in and up as if you're going over a hurdle as you go back to downward facing dog. Lovely. And let's do this just one more time. We'll have a little pause at the extended child's pose. That's all. As you inhale, knees come to the floor. Lift your heart, lift your tailbone. As you exhale into the cat position, nice rounded spine. As you inhale, back into the cow position. And as you exhale, into pose of a child, the extended pose of a child. Lovely. And then release all the way into the extended pose of a child, so that you'll need to take the flex out of your foot and let the forehead rest on the floor. You may need to bend the elbows to make that happen. And see how this feels to your low back. If all is well, you're going to bring the hands right back to the lumbar spine. If it doesn't quite work and you can't maintain contact with the forehead to the floor, you will need to have a book or a yoga brick to rest your forehead there. So do find what really works best for you in this position. So that as you inhale next, you're going to push your shins into the floor, the tops of your feet, and you're going to reach up fully and completely, full extension here. And then as you exhale, you're going to open up, arms front to back, a little bit of a twist here as you look towards the right. As you inhale, arms back up to center. As you exhale, look over to the left, arms front to back. Really feel that length from fingertip to fingertip. And then inhale, rise back up with the arms, extension in the spine. As you exhale, core engagement that takes you gracefully back down, carefully and safely back to the starting position. So as you exhale, you'll feel that core draw in, and you keep that core engagement as you inhale and reach up. Just for that momentum to come up. As you exhale, breathe over to the right, arms front to back. As you inhale, reach up with the arms. As you exhale, looking over to the left, arms really reaching front to back. Inhaling, reaching up, and exhaling, coming back to the starting position. And often it takes us several times to really get the movement. Now you've got it. Let's do it one more time. As you inhale, reach up. Feel the length as you exhale, looking over to the right, little twist, arms front to back. Inhaling, reaching up, really long in the spine. So as you exhale, with a long spine, you come into a twist to the left. And then inhaling, reaching up, and exhaling, coming on back into the starting position. Now from here, just slowly, you can let go in the arms and bring the hands to the sides of the body. Continue to breathe and just let the low back relax a little bit. And then take your fingertips and release to come back up. And coming back into the tabletop position. Hands one hand length further ahead. Flexing the toes under, coming back into downward facing dog. As much as you can, you're going to really try to relax and release your neck. Let the head go heavy. As you inhale, we're going to come back into plank pose. And as you exhale, we're going to come into a side angle pose. So drop the right knee. Bring with weight into the hand of the right side and the right knee, and reach up with the left arm. As you inhale, stretch that arm right over your head. I want you to feel in this, so you've got half the weight into your knee. What I want you to feel in that right hand, I want you to feel as you come up with a little bit of that weight into the shoulder, what I want you to feel is as you press down, there's a tiny, tiny little clockwise, maybe just a fraction of an inch, clockwise turn with the heel of the hand and the inner hand. And that helps support you, and it helps integrate the arm and shoulder in the right position. Lovely. And then release. Coming back into the downward facing dog. Let's do the same thing on the other side. Inhaling into plank. You're so strong. You've got that integration of the arm and shoulder joint really strong in the core. Then you let the left knee drop down and press the weight into the head, into the left knee, and then rise up into your side plank. Remember that tiny little quarter turn. This time, of course, with the left hand, it's going to be anti-clockwise. That little teeny turn, maybe just a millimeter. You just want to feel that integration in that left shoulder, arm and shoulder joint. Very good. Coming back and coming into your downward facing dog. Now we're going to try a side plank, a standard side plank. If you don't feel like your shoulder joints are strong enough to support a full side plank, you're going to do the exact same thing we've just done, and you're going to touch the knee, the same side knee down. So let's go ahead. I'll talk you right through it as you inhale, coming into the plank position. You're either going to drop the right knee and come into the side plank, or you're going to swivel on the feet, and with that tiny little pressing into the right hand and little quarter turn, you're actually going to just lift up into a side plank. And with this, you lift the upper side waist a little more. It's quite intense. You're either doing this or you're doing this with the knee down. So choose your level carefully, and just the next exhale, let's release whichever one you've chosen. We're coming back to downward facing dog. And so same thing the other side. Remember, you're either putting knee down or you're coming into full side plank. And you're only coming into the full side plank if you've got that really strong arm-shoulder integration, right? So you're inhaling into plank. You're exhaling, possibly just swiveling the feet and coming into plank, or you're dropping the left knee down. And just try to have 3 breaths in whatever position you've chosen. And then release when you need to. Back into downward facing dog. Lovely. And then drop your knees. Let's go ahead and have another pose of a child. You're letting the head and neck relax. You're letting the shoulders relax. You're letting the low back relax. You can have a little movement if you'd like. And just let your breath be long and slow for just a couple more breaths. Very good. And from here, we're going to slowly start to come up. Nice and easy. We're going to come to standing, and we're going to do that in that nice incremental way that you all know how to do. So take your time with this. And let's all come up to standing. So come into standing and find your best Tadasana. So really root your feet down. Find the right placement between the feet. It might be just a fist width between the 2 feet, but find the perfect placement where you feel the power in the pose, and that you can really sustain the elongation in the spine and the core strength as you press down into the feet. And let's just go over all those little movements we did from the kneeling position, and let's do that now. Each one 3 times. As you inhale, bringing the arms over the head just as far as you can, pressing into the feet. Here's where it's really important not to bow your front ribs out. So you want to engage the core as much as you need to. Bring the arms up as high as your shoulders and your core allow, and then exhale, release down. Inhaling, bringing the arms back up into sort of an I shape. And exhale, releasing back down. Remember, as you're making these shapes with the arms and using your shoulders, you're also maintaining all of mountain pose. Pressing into the feet, feeling space in your low back, and then exhale, release down. Turning the palms a little outward, we're going to come up at a 45-degree angle into the Y shape. Inhaling, breathing up, and exhaling, releasing down. Inhale, breathing up into that slight diagonal shape, and exhaling, breathing down. As you inhale, next into the Y shape, just check yourself, make sure the feet are fully rooted into the floor and your core is engaged. And then exhale, release. Turning palms outward, arms come out to the sides, just to that T shape. Maybe go a little beyond if you'd like. And then exhale, release. Inhaling up to the T shape. And exhaling, release. And last time, inhaling into the T shape. And exhale, release. And just bring your arms now right to shoulder height in front of you. The next time you inhale, the butterfly shape, you're bringing the arms right out as broad as you can, bringing them back as far as you can, making sure the core doesn't lose its strength, and then exhale, release the arms back together again. And exhale, widen, keeping Tadasana in place, and then exhale, release. Last time, bringing the arms out as long and then wide and broad as you can. And exhale, release. Bringing the arms down to the sides of the body and bring that right arm into a nice big full circle. You can look in the direction of the circle if it's more comfortable, that's fine. And then reverse the direction. Let's do that again, same side. And reverse. Now with the left arm, nice big circle, as big as you can. Reverse the direction. And then one more time. Nice big circle. Reverse the direction. That's lovely. Coming back to Tadasana now. If you do have bricks, it would be really good to have them right now. If you've got two, even better. I'll grab both of my bricks. If you don't have bricks, there's nothing to worry about. You'll just have to isometrically contract in. With those of us with bricks, we'll have sort of the immediate feedback of the brick. So first brick, if you've got two, you're going to put one between your thighs, and you're going to really cozy up those thighs into that brick. If you don't have a brick, you're going to come into your mountain pose and isometrically draw those inner groins and thighs towards each other. And then the second brick, you're going to bring the hands behind your back, holding onto the brick on either end, long ways. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down, and maintain that core strength so you don't bow out like this. And just find the position where you can just straighten your arms. You don't have to pull them far back away from your back body at this point, but just see, can you straighten your arms? And remember, the position for your shoulders is not hovered in like this. It is rolled up, back, and down. And from this position, clasping the brick on either end, start pulling apart with your hands. You're still clasping onto the brick. It feels a little bit like you might want to try to tear that brick apart left to right. If you don't have a brick, you're going to be interlocking your hands. Same, everything else is the same, but then you're going to start to let the fingers go away from each other in the interlock, but you're not going to actually let it break, okay? What I want you to feel in this position, whether you have the brick or you're using interlock fingers, is as you start to pull those hands away, I want you to feel that really intense integration in the arm and shoulder joint. And that's what you want to remember in any weight bearing with the arms. You really want to have that strength. Very nice. And from here, let's have a little bend in our knees. So you're just sinking down straight, the hips down, little bend in the knees. Stop there and then start to hinge forward at the hip. Little bend in the knees, keeping the back straight, keeping the heart looking forward. You just come down with a flat back or more or less with your chest parallel to the floor. If all is well, can you come further? And if you can, that's great. You need to come hinging at the hip only. You're not rounding the spine. You keep just loosely clasping the brick if you've got it, as if you're trying to pull it apart left to right. Or you've got interlocked fingers and you're pulling the interlocked fingers apart without losing the break. You come forward as far as you can. And if all this is working, you might want to try to bring the arms pointing up to the ceiling. If that's not okay for you, then you just leave them, more closer to the back. But if you can, you want to bring those arms just as far up as you can. All the while, you're pulling apart slightly with the hands or apart with the brick, feeling what's happening in the shoulder joint. Releasing any strain in your head and neck. Little more bend in the knees, so you have to drop your bum a little bit, lose your leg strength, and start to lift yourself back up again. And then let's go ahead and release the brick if you are using a brick. Really important to have that sort of feedback immediately, so you're really clear on what to do in the shoulder joint. And from here, from our mountain pose, we're going to bring our legs out nice and long, side to side. Breathe the arms out to that T shape. Pivot onto the right foot, so it's pointed out to the right, and back heel kicks back a little bit. Bending the knees, coming into a little warrior two shape here. Remember, we can come in and out of it. In fact, it's good to do that a few times, but what you're trying to do is really find the best warrior two, as low as you can go. That might mean up here, but as low as you can go comfortably and sustain. Lots of weight into that back foot. And from this position, just drop your arms and interlock your hands behind you. Roll those shoulders up, back, and down. And leaving the legs right where they are, can you point your chest to the top left corner of your mat? Press the knuckles away, and we're going to come into a version of humble warrior. This might be your humble warrior, just a nice broad chest. If you have any more that you think you might be able to do, as you press firmly into the back foot, you're just hinging at the hip, legs are strong, and you're just allowing the whole of the torso to bend forward towards that top left corner of the mat. You can come as far over as you can go. It might be maybe here, chest parallel, or maybe you can come a little bit more with the arms pointing up towards the ceiling. Remember, it doesn't matter as long as you're coming to your edge. And just have a really full, long, slow breath or two in the full expression of the pose for yourself. And when you're ready to come up, use the strength in your feet. Use your arms as if somebody's pulling you by the wrist, coming back out. Come right into your warrior two, and then release. Right on over to the other side. Bringing the left toes out to the left. Just kicking that right heel back towards a little bit so that the position is now reversed. Left foot is now the front foot. And sink a few times in and out of your warrior two. On now. Left side is the front side. Is the forward side. And then when you find your warrior two, just hold that for a breath. Perfect anything you can in the pose. And then just slowly keeping the legs strong as they are. You're just letting the arms come down, interlock behind you, rolling the shoulders up, back and down. And then pressing into the back foot so it stays really stable and the little toe side is engaged. You're going to turn your chest a little more towards now the top right corner of your mat. This might be it. If you want to go further, you want to have both feet really firmly pressing into the floor, but make sure that back foot is your anchor. And you might be able to bring your torso and chest a little downward diagonally. And the idea is to keep pressing back with those knuckles, keep those shoulders integrated, and remember, feels a little bit like those interlocked hands are trying to come loose, but you're not going to let them, just to keep the integration in your shoulders. And just come as low as you can. And just bring those arms back as far as you can. And when you are ready to come out, just mindfully press into those feet. Use the strength in your legs and push back with those interlocked hands. So you can come back really strong into your warrior two. And then release. And we're going to heel and toe. Coming nice and close so we can have a little hop. And we come right back to Tadasana. Just have 2 or 3 long, slow breaths and just feel everything coming back into balance. Let the breath help you do that. And then let's all come to the floor and close out there. So coming back to the floor, we're going to do our cooling poses today, face down. So if you will come to your mats, tummy down, just lay yourself on the floor and double your hands and just allow the forehead to rest on those double hands for just a couple of breaths. And just allow maybe a little movement in the hips and allow your body to settle there. Just a couple of breaths. And then placing your forehead on the floor and your elbows bent to either side, forearms on the floor. Pressing gently into the right forearm and go ahead and TP the left hand. So you can use the right forearm and the left TP'd fingers as a little bit of leverage, and then see, can you hike the right knee up towards the armpit, just as far as it wants to go comfortably. And once you get there, again, you just allow that little moment to settle. Let the right side of the body come to the floor as much as it can. If you need to wiggle that right bent knee around a little bit, to try to find a point of comfort. You're trying to get that right hip as heavy and low to the floor as it will go. Lovely. And then using the leverage you've got with the right forearm on the floor and the left fingertips, try to get your torso just a little bit longer. And just ever so gently start to turn your torso towards the right. And see how that feels. Lovely. And then back to center. Get a little longer. And then let's go ahead and press into that right forearm and those left fingertips. And then turn your heart to the left. As you do that, can you contract a little bit your right gluteal muscles? And just feel any reverberation of that into your right hip joint. Oh, and then inhale back to center. Get yourself just a little bit longer through the torso if you can. And then try that again. This time you're going to press into the right forearm, left finger points, and turn the heart to the left. Contract your right gluteal muscles, and can you let that right groin come as much to the floor as it can. And it may not come at all, but just get the sensation or the intention of letting that right groin get a little heavier and maybe get a little closer to the floor. If you move your knee or that bent thigh a little bit, that's fine. But just see, you've got your right gluteal muscles engaged, and your breathing is long and slow. Very good. And then let's release that. And bring the knee a little bit, that right knee, a little bit closer into the body. And let's have a little shoulder stretch now. So you want to reach that left arm, palms down as far to the left as you can. And again, using your right hand and maybe your right knee, you're just going to roll to the left side a little bit. You can always bend the knee and a little more on the right. You're just trying to find what you need to get a really good stretch, and you're using your own body weight as the leverage. So just go ahead and maybe push a little bit with that right hand and come into that shoulder stretch as much as you can comfortably. You're going to hold it. Once you find the maximum stretch, you're going to hold it for 3 breaths. Let your breath be long and slow. And then you're going to slowly release out of that. And again, you're back to the forehead on the floor and the elbows are bent. And we're going to do the exact same thing to the second side. So this time, you're going to hike that left knee up. It's the left forearm that's going to be anchored to the floor, and now the right finger points are going to be pressed into the floor. Take just a moment to let that left hip and left side of the body surrender its weight to the floor as much as happens naturally when you let go. And then mindfully try using the leverage of the left forearm and the right fingertips as leverage. Go ahead and get a little taller through the torso. Just feel yourself gently turn towards the left, and back to center, and then let your heart turn to the right. And you can always press into the finger points on the right and the left forearm to assist. And then I want you to contract those left gluteal muscles. And just feel what happens inside when you do that. And let's release to center, release your gluteal muscle. And let's do that again. So again, you're trying to inhale and get tall. On the exhale, just turn your heart a little bit towards the right and engage that left gluteal muscle. And as you do that, just allow that left groin to come as much to the floor as it can, even if it's just in your imagination. Just enjoy that little surrender. You'll feel sensation in the whole left side of your buttock and possibly in the left gluteal muscle. And release. Back to center. You can release that left leg a little bit, but stretch the right arm out behind you or towards the right, palms down, and we're going to have that little shoulder stretch now on this side. So find the place where your shoulder joint meets the floor, and then just use your body weight as the leverage to create the maximum stretch. So you're just starting to roll towards the right. And you can use your left knee and your left hand just to hold yourself steady. And when you find the place that really gives you a maximum stretch, just breathe into that for 3 breaths. And you're just letting the breath become long and slow. And slowly let that go. Coming back to the starting position of forehead on those double hands, and flex the toes under. And from here, on an inhale, really lengthen and strengthen the legs. and feel the knees and the thighs come off the floor. The toes are still anchored to the floor, heels are pointing up to the ceiling, and you feel a real length from the tailbone all the way down to your heels. And just let the legs be long, but feel a little bit of extra space in your low back. And on an exhale, just release the thighs to the floor and turn the toes inward. And you can wag your tail just a little bit if it feels good. Excuse me. And then we'll slowly come up using our arm strength. And we're going to end up face up on the floor just for our final relaxation. Coming down to the floor, and take the moments that you need just to have a little final stretch or whatever final pose feels good to you. I always love a full body stretch. And you might want to bring one knee into the chest and then the other. But as you're doing these little movements, just assess what is it that your body needs right now. And the more you tune in, the more that becomes apparent to you. And just take another final couple of breaths here, moving around anywhere that feels good in the body or any final yoga pose. And then we'll finally all make our way into Shavasana. And just enjoy the sense of the body surrendering right now. And just feel that slight heaviness as you become aware of every surface of your body that's touching the floor. And just allow and encourage that surrender. And then let your awareness come to the breath. Just for a few breaths, we'll try to make our exhales a little longer than our inhales. Sometimes it's helpful just the first 2 or 3 breaths to be guided through it. So all of us together now on your inhale. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then just keep going for a couple more breaths like that. And just in your own time, just allow your breath to come back to its own natural, spontaneous breathing. And almost certainly it has slowed down. And just feel the breath in the body for a few more breaths. Maybe noticing the little pause after each and every exhale, where the body is at that lovely still point. So I invite all of you who can to be in Shavasana for as long, maybe several minutes will not be too long if you've got the time. And for those of you who need to close out,
I send you namaste. Thank you, and see you in the next video.